Okay, let's go.
He wants to jump
1,000 cars. Sir, you have 1,000 cars.
I don't think I'd attempt to try this stunt.
Or we owe this horsepower to Uncle Sam.
Too many cars.
Car. Roses would be.
Like I put my beer belly on it.
If you can't immediately tell somebody how many cars you have,
you'll really give those uppity yuppies something to think about.
Stay on the bar. Don't go off the bar with your Bronco.
1980 Volvo horns, which are like,
Yeah.
I want to have a man's coolant.
and he's like, "Oh, I thought it'd be small. It's for a small car." And I'm like, "Yeah, but it's still an automatic transmission. They're never going to be light."
It's definitely going to have to crash.
Starting off with Brad buying another car.
That's the West. Internet.
You know, is this a Nigerian oil print?
I also wish you drove a tan Camry.
Anyways,
Anyway,
that's a
horrible,
very
horrible podcast content.
very
Talking about a picture.
inside joke.
It loves to be driven hard.
Welcome to another episode of Auto Off Topic. How goes it, Brad?
It goes very well. How goes it with you?
Goes pretty well. What I think we mostly just have events to talk about going to. I've not worked on any project cars. Oh, I did a little
Pretty
bit.
much.
I tried to work on the G20 because I was going to do a track day finally. I haven't done one in like a year. And I was like, that car's not that far off. It's been driving around. It doesn't need a sticker. I'll go get a sticker. I'll flush the brakes. Pads look good. I'll take it to the track day. I've got tires for it that have been sitting in my basement. They haven't been outside. And while I'm bleeding the brakes, you get it jacked up. I'm like, well, I better check the front end. And I grab the wheel on the driver's side, and I heard a little faint click, 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 click. I'm like, and it's moving in and out at the bottom. So I look under, and sure enough, the ball joint, the boot is like completely deteriorated from these control arms I put in 2021. I looked up on Rock Auto when I got them. So it must have just been from the heat of like the brakes. They just roasted the boot. And probably all the grease came out. I don't know. Maybe there wasn't that much in there to begin with. And they're making noise. So I was like, well, I guess I'm not doing that track day because I don't have time this week to change them. So, but I did look them up. I don't know. They're like, Rock Auto has like Mevotech, which I don't know. They seem all right. But
I've used those parts before on other things.
Yeah. Well, I double checked that they are, you can press ball joints into these control arms, and the Mevotech makes a press-in ball joint for them that has like the upgraded blue rubber, whatever they use instead, with a greasable fitting that goes in the bottom. So I was like, well, I guess I'll try those, and hopefully with a better material for the boot and then being able to pump them full of grease, they'll last a lot longer. So we'll see. I got to wait for those to come in, and at some point I'll put them in because I still need to get a sticker for the thing. But I was like, annoying because I'm trying to spend all the time.
Frustrating.
Yeah, trying to spend all the time working on cars on the Volvo, trying to finish it. So
Unfortunately, when you have more than one car, that maintenance stuff creeps up pretty quick. And sometimes unscheduled maintenance is the biggest pain in the butt of it all. It's why I haven't driven the Porsche in like a year, because I need to do the timing belt and I just haven't gotten around to it. I have the parts, just got to put them in. So it's that stuff you just got to get done. And I guess timing belt's normally scheduled maintenance, but it started making noise on this car, and it's not due. But I also am not 100% positive on the mileage of when it was done last, or the time when it was done last. So I guess by my guessing of when it was going to be due, it might not be. It might actually be due. So
is it making the same slapping noise it was making?
It's making the same slapping noise it was making before. Yeah.
That we adjusted.
We tightened it before, but I don't want to tighten it again without actually getting in there and inspecting everything and changing it, because that was maybe 3,200 miles ago that we did that. and it shouldn't need adjustment every 3,000 miles.
It was definitely like 2023 or 22.
Yeah, but I haven't driven it that far. In the last year, I haven't driven it. So when you put it into that fact, it's only had it maybe a year from adjusting it till, I don't know. It shouldn't be something that needs to be done quite that often. I know it's a little more than, a standard Mitsubishi belt, but at the same time, I feel like 3,000 miles in a year is not an interval. So
Yeah.
I bought all the parts to change it. I just got to get in there and change it. I've been so busy with my other big project, the Corolla engine, that I hadn't got to it yet, but it's next.
Yeah, I think I talked about putting the alternator in the Volvo, trying to figure that out. So I ended up,
Yeah, because you had to buy a custom bracket.
well, not really custom. I mean, it's from the Volvo parts suppliers. They say universal. They offer either a straight or curved one. I bought the curved one. And I decided to, like, in looking at this alternator, and then my dad and I were looking at the wiring. We took some of the wiring and found another connector that was not connected to anything. So we realized that someone had adapted another type of European alternator to this thing that had like a dual pulley on it. It had like all the right sort of bolt-on connections for it, but it didn't have a regulator, or the regulator was internal and the original was probably external. And it's like, I was like, oh, that's kind of weird. So I was trying to figure out, it's also a little bit bigger than I think it needs to be, like physically bigger and kind of tricky to get into the space. So I went onto Rock Auto again, and looked up, didn't have any alternators available for the 142. Can't hear that crunching, can you?
I hear a little bit of something, but it's nothing
Yes.
to worry about. Keep going. It's probably cat.
The cat is scratching some paper I left on the floor for her. She loves to come down when I'm doing the podcast and just stare at me or run around and do crazy cat things down here because it's nighttime. But anyway, they didn't have any alternators for 142 like available. Like they showed them, they're just none in stock. I was like, well, you know what? Early 240s also use a B20. So looked up for like a 1975, like first year 240. Sure enough, they had the alternator for it. 4-cylinder, 2-liter. That's a B20. Ordered that one instead. It should fit because other people have used them. And then I found an adjustable voltage regulator that IPD was selling. So I grabbed one of those, and it actually will plug into this connector that's already on the harness. Because when you lay out the harness that was there, and you kind of see the length of the wires, you're like, oh, okay, so there was a voltage regulator up here on the fender well, because there's 2 bolt holes for it, and then the wires will go back to the alternator. So yeah, hopefully that fits better. And then I'm gonna add, like, it's interesting, the charge wire goes over to the starter and junctions there and goes over to the battery to charge the battery. Like, it uses the starter as a junction. So this car's not original or stock anyways, so my dad and I are just going to wire it in a way that makes more sense for modern use. Yeah. So I'm just going to throw a circuit breaker in there, basically use that as a junction. That way, if the alternator overcharges or the wire gets frayed or something, it'll trip that circuit breaker and not overcharge the battery or fry it. And then I got a second one to power the extra fuse block I'm going to put in so I can power the O2 sensor, and we're going to run the ignition through a relay and the starter through a relay. And then I got to power the electric fan. So yeah, it's just going to be a little bit of a custom wire job, but I was kind of waiting for the alternator to get here to start that work. And just going to be like mounting some stuff with riv nuts and doing some wiring. But it's really, it's kind of like once that wiring is all set up, I get the alternator in there. I'm going to put the radiator in too to make sure that fits right. There's not much else after that to actually turn the engine over and get it running. So
You
there's
did
more
get your new made in USA junction block, so
I did the circuit breaker. I don't know. There's like you look up a 60 amp 12-volt circuit breaker. You know they're used a lot. Apparently on like trolling motors. I've used them in other projects. But you go on Amazon, there's a million of them. They all look the same. There are varying prices from like $8 to like $30. And that's the problem with Amazon. It'll have you can look up the same item, but it'll be hosted, whatever you want to call it, like 20 different times by 20 different sellers that are either selling it through Amazon or it's like sold through sold through the seller, but like fulfilled by Amazon. So you're like trying to read these reviews. You're like, is this actually a good part? Is it not a good part? What is this part? You're trying to look at the pictures. They look kind of cheap. So I was like, oh, I'm just kind of looking around, and then I found what I was looking for in Jegs. It was like a Jegs brand of circuit breaker, like Jegs wiring, and it looked a little bit nicer in the pictures. Like I don't know how to explain it. Right? You can kind of look at like some parts. Sometimes the
so
pictures.
when I looked at it, the big difference to me was all the Amazon ones you shared had shiny plastic, and this
Yes.
one has like a matte finish plastic that just looks more,
Yeah.
I don't know,
Right.
less toy like. Looks like the others look like a toy. This looks
Yeah.
like an automotive part, and it has like embossed writing on the front, which made it seem more official.
Yeah, so I don't know. Maybe the other ones are made in China, but turns out this one on the Jegs website said made in the USA. And I was like, I don't know about that, but all right, if it's made in the USA, sure. Um, Also, I feel like it's easier if I'm buying a part like that and it's crappy. Maybe I can get a hold of someone at Jegs and get a new one, or instead of like just ordering another one from Amazon. I don't know. Just try not to spend money with Amazon. It's annoying to spend money through Amazon all the time. Not that I don't know who owns Jegs or I don't know. There's no
Probably some venture capitalist.
who knows. There's no good way to do this. It just trying to exist here. Um. So yeah, I get the part, and on the bag it says "Made in the USA." It's like a Jags bag, but it's like that newer style, like I don't know. It's like that newer product, like Ziploc type bag that things come in now. Have you gotten like RC stuff in these type of bags?
Yeah, they have like it literally just a Ziploc bag, like a smaller than snack bag Ziploc bag.
Yeah, but they're like fancy and like smooth plastic and like screen printed. You know what I'm talking about.
Sure. Yep.
So I'm like, all right, cool. Open it up, look at the back of it, made in Taiwan. I'm like, okay, which is fine. I mean, I think if you pick up a Tamiya kit, they're made in Taiwan. Um, I'd have to look
The
at
issue
one.
isn't the fact that the part is made in Taiwan. The issue is the fact that it says made in USA in bold letters in the listing and pictures in the listing and everything on Jeg's website says it. So, and you paid a little bit more for it thinking it was a USA made part and it was not. So
Yeah,
that's where the frustration comes. And it's
I don't
not
know.
even like you're not anti a Taiwan built part. You're just like, oh, this is an American built part. I'll buy that.
Yeah,
But you got
yeah, I don't know
stiffed.
what the scam
And
is.
Jegs was privately owned until 2022 when it was bought by Greenbrier Equity Group. So yes, it is owned by a venture capitalist group. So there you go. See, mine is to buy from Amazon.
Summit, I usually buy from Summit, and they didn't have what I want. But they didn't have a 60 amp 12 volt. They had like 40, 50. I'm like, I want 60 because it's a 55 amp alternator. So I got a 60 amp circuit breaker.
Yeah, you need something higher than that number for sure.
But
Otherwise, you'll
anyway,
just be tripping all the time.
yeah. So luckily on the Volvo here of this vintage, all the wiring is basically from the firewall forward, under the dash forward. There's like 3 wires going to the back of the car. Basically, the brake lights,
Yeah, I
reverse
mean
lights,
that's
turn signals.
pretty standard. Pretty standard of any pre 1980s car. It's going to be a pretty simple wiring exercise. So even if you had to redo all the wiring, it's you know a couple hours versus something like when you did the VR4 where it was huge harnesses all over the entire car.
Yeah, I just want to get it we'll fix it up when we get enough that we can get it running, and then I'll go back and fix all the wire nuts and vampire clips that are all hidden by corrugated conduit and all the nightmare rat's nest that's under the dash.
My guess is that most of that nightmare under the dash is going to be able to just be thrown in the trash because it's going to be for accessories that you're no longer running.
It looks
Whether it
like
be
it.
the La Cucaracha horns or the block heater or the auxiliary heater or anything else that was in the car. So chances are pretty good it's all going to be in the trash.
Yeah. But again, I'm just kind of embracing the ridiness a little bit of the car. It'll look kind of rough, but all the mechanicals should be a lot nicer than the outside of the car appears.
I mean, that's kind of the auto off topic way, isn't it? We just have a mechanically good car and we can enjoy it and not worry too much about the pristineness. The aesthetics are important, but part of the aesthetic is a usable vehicle.
Yeah, without the, I don't want like, I'm not going to take a grinder to the door just to make patina on it, though.
Well, that goes beyond our aesthetic. You want to make it so it looks like a well cared for, well loved, but still used car, like a used and enjoyed car versus a sealed showpiece car. That's the difference. That's kind of our aesthetic. We like to use things, so we like to have them a little bit under perfect while still being nice. And honestly, it still winds up being nicer than most 5-year-old cars in public. So it's fine. Most people care even less than us.
So yeah, those are my project car updates, downdates existing.
So I don't have many project car updates. When we last spoke, I'd already had the engine apart in the Corolla. That was leading up till this past weekend. I have made a couple of phone calls to machine shops and frustratingly have struck out so far on that. Waiting for a call back from the shop that did the cylinder head on my Eclipse. Hopefully they'll be able to handle the block on this car. So fingers crossed. I haven't heard back from them yet, but
Otherwise,
one
they're just
shop that I
busy.
thought for sure, or one shop said that they don't have tools that are small enough to work on a 1.8 liter 4-cylinder. They only work on larger V8s. And I was like, okay, but I know you guys do 2-liter 4-cylinders because I know somebody's had work done here before. And he's just like, no, we don't have the parts for that. The bore is too small. I was like, okay, well, I'm not going to go measure it, but I'm pretty sure it's pretty close to the 2-liter
Yeah.
in the Mitsubishi, which I know they do 2-liter Mitsubishi engines because the person who recommended me to use them has had 2-liter Mitsubishi engines built there. So, a little frustrated with that. It sounds like he doesn't want to deal with it, but that's fine. Whatever. Just say no. But so I'm not going to be using him, unfortunately. And as I said, I haven't heard back yet from the shop that did the cylinder head on the Eclipse. And the shop that did the cylinder head on the Corolla does not do blocks. They only do cylinder heads, which is also strange to me.
Well, that's why the guy did it so fast. He just cranks out cylinder heads.
Yeah, I guess. It's just one of those things that I didn't know was a thing. A shop that just does cylinder heads. But unless, hopefully I can find somebody to do this block in a short period of time because I'd like to get it back together. I was hoping to have the car back together by the time of the rally for the Arizona Rising Sun Rally, but that's rapidly approaching and it's in 2 weekends, so probably not going to happen now. So even if I did get it back together, I wouldn't have enough time to shake it down and kind of break it in and all that stuff. So I think that's a pipe dream at this point. So that car will be sitting out that event, which means I need to get off my butt and get some other cars put back together too, because I need to have vehicles for that event. I have a friend driving one of my other cars, and I had to put air conditioning in that car again because I haven't done that yet either. So that's also next. But anyway, I did not do too many projects since we last spoke, other than trying to get somebody to do this the block work on the Corolla. But I did use the Ram 50 Mighty Max truck. This past weekend was the Route 66 JDM Classic, which is the vintage Japanese car show in Williams, Arizona, which is along historic Route 66. It was actually the last town to be bypassed by the 40. So it has a pretty big history with Route 66, and it's very kitschy with all like the 50s cars parked around town some places and all the little, curiosity shops, and it's a pretty busy little tourist town, so it's really neat. And I've talked about this show before. They take over the downtown area, which is Route 66, for a couple of blocks, and we park on the side of the road and just have a show for the day. So it's a really good time. But Williams is, not super close. It's probably a 2.5 hours or so in a normal car. Um, it's also 6,000 feet of elevation gain from Phoenix. I think you cross like 6,600 and some odd feet at some point on one of the passes, which is quite high. I mean, that's more than a mile up there. And when you're driving a 2.6 liter Mitsubishi four cylinder with a Weber carburetor loaded up with a bed full of camping gear and coolers and two people, it's a bit of a challenge because the carburetor obviously is not like modern fuel injection where it adjusts for elevation change. So the truck runs really good down here in the valley. It ran really good up there. It just ran really slow. It was a struggle to get that thing up to speed in any kind of situation where you're starting from zero. Maintaining speed wasn't usually too big of a deal unless you had like a really significant hill. Um, and then obviously when you're running up the 17 to go up north, you have to go through a bunch of mountain passes that are 2 lanes, and you're dealing with a lot of 18 wheelers. And everybody who's ever taken a road trip anywhere knows what happens on a mountain pass with 18 wheelers, right? One of them's going 55 and one of them's going 55.2. So the one going 55.2 has to pass on a hill every time. And by the time they get to the top of the hill, they're both doing 38, and you can't get past either one of them. And I'm there in my little truck, rapidly climbing, which I could maintain 55, 60 miles an hour uphill, unless, of course, I get stuck behind these 18 wheelers, and then trying to accelerate to pass them is impossible if I have to slow down to 38 miles an hour, or trying to do anything once you're stuck behind them is an exercise in futility, and you should probably just wait for the downhill. So that's a bit of an issue that someday I'll be able to change, but it won't be too often that I'll be trying to climb over 6,000 feet with a car loaded up with stuff and gear and people, right? So hopefully doesn't happen too often. But truck made it a little bit slower than it would have been in any other vehicle, but we got there. Everything was good. We camped out the night before. Went to the show. Show was excellent as always. We had a special section where they parked all the trucks this year for the first time, so that was kind of cool. I wasn't the only Ram 50 there. We'll get to that part in a minute. Finished the evening, got dinner with some friends that live up there in the Williams area, and camped one more night and came home on Sunday, and pretty much trouble free. So I'm still patting myself on the back a little bit because it was a year ago next weekend that we rescued the truck out of the desert where it had been sitting for 25 years. And for it to now be able to complete, a round trip with elevation and camping for the weekend and all the other things it's done over the past year that I've been driving it, or I guess I got it on the road in probably December. So the last 8 or 9 months, 10 months that I've been driving it, it's a pretty cool little deal that it even exists anymore. So that truck could easily have been scrapped many times in its 25 years of dormancy. So I'm glad it wasn't because I absolutely adore that little truck. So a couple more things to take care of, but it's overall usable vehicle and quite happy. So cool things that happened at the show. Friend of the show and fellow Montero Mitsubishi guy also owns a Q45. His name is Ryan Yancer. He had his car painted entirely by the guy who painted the passenger side of my blue Cressida, and the car looks spectacular. He's like a Q45 aficionado owner, will never sell the car, loves it, so he spent the money to have it painted. Won Best Nissan Infinity non 240 or 510. So that was super cool. To see his Q45 get some recognition from people. The judging at this show is like a popular choice kind of thing. Every entrant gets a slip to check off card numbers for categories. So congrats to him for winning. That was super cool. What else was up there? Go through a quick thing. My favorite car of the day was a 1983 Nissan Sentra, which you wouldn't think would ever be my favorite car of the day, but it is a SCCA showroom stock car from new. And the guy just bought it from a collection somewhere up in Oregon and is going through it to do track days and stuff down here in the valley with it. But it's all the original 1983 showroom stock livery and just kind of a super cool like timepiece of the early 80s showroom stock race cars. So it would have been like right after, the years of like the 510s and all the rear wheel drive stuff. Would have been one of the first of the front wheel drive cars. Probably competed with Rabbits and probably some Dodge Daytona front wheel drives and those kinds of things that would have been in its sub 2 liter class. Super cool car. Super cool to see it in its original livery. It's never been wrecked or painted, so it's all, it's got some patina, but it's a cool looking little race car. So it'd be cool to see that thing out on track. And I'm looking forward to that for sure. But the coolest thing is not because of the vehicle. It was another Ram 50. But I started talking to the owner, and we were just chatting back and forth. And partway through the conversation, he goes, "Auto off topic?" And I went, "Yep." And he goes, "Cool. I listened to you guys." And I was like, "All right, rad. That's cool." Turns out he lives in Nebraska, which is the middle of the country, where
Yeah.
you sometimes, as a coastal person or a Phoenix person in the big city, don't think about having too many people listening in the middle of the country, but just shows that they're all out there. His name is Eric, and him and his wife Marley came down from Nebraska in a Dodge Ram 50 with a 2.6 and a Weber carb, just like my truck. Second gen 2-wheel drive, red, 5-speed, regular cab, super clean little truck. And they drove all the way down from Nebraska and came to hang out at the show there. And super, super cool people. I did tell him I would send him a box full of stuff. So I'm going to say that publicly here because
Okay.
Santiago is still waiting for his box of stuff.
Why don't you send them
It's
at the
been
same time?
forever. Yes, I 100% will. And Naomi knows about both things now, and she'll keep me honest. So she'll
All right.
remind me because she's got way better memory than I do of this kind of stuff.
Well, hello, Eric and Marley. Nice to have you listening.
Absolutely. And Marley was actually wearing a Revival motoring shirt as well. So they also listen to Revival, which they heard about through us, and support them with buying swag. So, and asked where our swag was. And I said, "Well, we don't have any swag." I said, "But I'll send you a hat."
The work
So
in progress. We're
it's
busy
been a work in
guys.
progress for the past, I don't know, 8, 9 years. How long have we been doing this thing for? So we
We're
do
not-
have some stickers and some hats, and I will be putting a box together to get some stickers and some hats for sure. But that's not even the coolest part of the story. The coolest part of the story is we were talking about parts and the trucks and like what we need and this, that, and the other thing. And he's a Dodge guy in general. He loves his Mopars, but not his standard Mopars. He has a collection of 50s Mopars, which is very cool and not a standard. It's not a bunch of Dodge Challengers. It's like, 50s Plymouth coupes and sedans, and some 50s Plymouth and Dodge pickup trucks, which I think is super rad. Early Hemi stuff and early like 293. I'm getting the numbers wrong. So I'm going to stop right there. But the early Hemi stuff, really, really rad stuff. Think like Christine, that kind of era of Plymouth and Dodge products. and even some earlier stuff. So super cool. But the coolest things we were talking about parts, and he's like, "Well, what are you looking for that truck?" He's like, "I know where there's quite a few of them, dotted around the Nebraska landscape." And I was like, "Well, for actual like hard to find trim stuff, I need a driver's side fender and a front bumper because every truck I find in a junkyard has a twisted front bumper and a smashed fender. I have not found one yet." He goes, "All right, cool." He goes, "I think I know where there's a first gen just sitting. I'll take a look at it and see what we can make happen." And I was like, "All right, that'd be cool. I mean, it's not super convenient because Nebraska, but I'm sure we can figure out shipping, right?" He and his wife, so Eric and Marley, left on Sunday, and instead of going straight home, they made a vacation road trip out of it. And before they even left the area, they stopped at a pick and pull in Flagstaff. So Flagstaff is a couple towns over from Williams, not too far at all. He sent me a picture, which unfortunately I got when I was about 20 minutes from home. I wasn't I was not up there anymore. I'd already come all the way back down the hill. And it is sitting in a junkyard in Flagstaff at a pick and pull, a 1986 Spring Special, which is what my truck is, Dodge Power Ram 50, in white with a tan interior and the tan stripes. So it's literally my exact truck with a perfectly straight left front fender and front bumper on the truck.
You better
So
get driving there right now.
super, super excited that this happened. We figured it out by looking on their website. It's been in the yard since July, so it probably doesn't have much time left. Naomi and I already made a plan. We're leaving here tomorrow night, go to drive to Flagstaff and grab dinner in a hotel, and wake up early Saturday morning when the yard opens, go to the yard and grab those parts immediately, and then come back down here for midday on Saturday. So I definitely can't leave those parts there.
Nope.
So theoretically, as long as whoever applied the stripes applied them in the correct orientation, it should bolt on my car and line up exactly with what's there. And it even looks like the patina on the fender will match pretty closely to my truck. So I'm pretty excited about that. I don't know what else I might have to steal off the truck while I'm up there. I don't
Anything you can.
necessarily need anything, but anything that seems nicer than what's on mine, I'll grab. Look at taillight lenses, tailgate hood, all that kind of stuff. But at the very least, I'll have a fender and a front bumper on the truck by the time of the next recording. Fingers crossed, hopefully, because for all I know, crush the truck Friday morning.
Ugh.
So
Yeah.
that would be my luck. But I'm
Cool.
super excited about that. I can't thank Eric and Marley enough for sending me that information because I never would have known it was there. Obviously, it's been there for half the time I've owned the truck and I never even went and looked at it. So it's just even wilder that it's not only a Power Ram 50 with a straight fender and bumper, but it's literally the exact same year and trim package. So I will take it. But super excited about that. So stay tuned to next weekend to see what happens there. But yeah, we're gonna leave right after work tomorrow and head back up the hill. Not in my truck, in her Maverick, for a couple reasons. One, it's easier because it's modern, and two, because it's pouring rain this weekend here. So I'd rather not add to the difficulty of driving my truck up the hill. So we'll just take our truck. I also have not fixed the wipers on my truck, which actually, now that I say that out loud, I should also grab the wiper arms off that truck. So another edition. But yeah, no, I'm excited about that. And it was a great show last weekend. It's one of my favorite weekends every year. We usually go up and make a weekend out of it. And this is the first year we did it with camping involved. I figure we had the truck. We might as well use it as a truck, right?
Right.
Super cool. Naomi cooked breakfast on the tailgate at the car show, cooked lunch on the tailgate at the car show. Super cool addition to the weekend. It was a great time. And now I'm looking forward to next year. So that's what's happening this weekend. That's what happened last weekend. And a big shout out again to Eric and Marley. As far as I know, they just made it home. They had a couple of hiccups on the way home where they actually blew a freeze plug somewhere in between here and Nebraska, but were able to pick that up at a parts store and get it changed on the side of the road. So road trip heroes for sure.
Nice.
Yeah, and make sure to give him a follow. He's not big on the internet and Instagram and social media, but he did create a Instagram page that he just started posting on during the trip down here from Nebraska, and it's Bear Schmitty. So it's BearSchmitty. So he'll be posting hopefully some more from there with his collection of 50s Mopars. So show him some love.
Very, very cool.
Yep. Very cool.
Yeah. So that was your show. And
That was the show, not my show. It was a show.
the show for you to go to. So we
Show
had
that I went
here
to.
we had here on the East Coast, we had Lars Anderson Japanese Car Day, and we had a bunch of friends and listeners. They're friend listeners, I guess. We all met up at the show, brought our Japanese cars. So that was a super good time. It was definitely it was a packed show. They announced it as a sellout. It's kind of interesting. Yeah, they did. I mean, from 20 years ago when there'd be like 10 cars there, right? They had the whole upper and lower lawn filled. So it was just funny. They did like staggered parking, and just the way it turned out, like I was literally right in front. Like the Galant was like front row, right in front of where like the like little check-in booth is. Usually,
Excellent.
sometimes where the DJ is. Yeah. So that was kind of cool. Brought the Galant.
That show has grown so much because it started as the Drone Club, which is the Datsun Roadsters of New England, and it was their Datsun Roadster show. And
Yeah.
then they opened it up to more Datsuns, and it was just a Datsun show. And then in like 2003, maybe maybe 2004, they opened it up to all Japanese cars, but it
Yeah.
didn't really take off right away. And the
Nope.
first few years of all Japanese cars, I remember it was odd because people didn't really understand what it was, and people would show up in like a brand new Accord. And that happened a few times. It was a very strange mix of
Well,
vehicles.
yeah, there was a person who had a brand new Toyota Sienna.
It was a special edition Sienna, Andrew? I don't want to hear about it, all right?
Well, it is a special. I mean, I guess it's a special edition if you make your own edition. And I really can't. I can't really crap on somebody's thing because it's like we customize cars to our tastes, anyways. So it's pretty hypocritical for me to make fun of this.
It wasn't tasteless. It wasn't like it was a
It had a strong.
2024 Corolla covered in Marvel characters.
No, it had a
Had a
strong
theme.
theme. That kind of.
Yeah.
I mean, at least it was a Japanese car. That kind of looks like a Shinkansen, and they put a Shinkansen stripe on it. I mean, I'd never seen this done to a vehicle before. So the Shinkansen is a
No.
Japanese bullet train. So white, the blue stripe, navy blue stripe, and that was it. And like painted blue calipers, and
You missed the most important part.
the license plate frames.
The license plate frame is the
Came
most
from
important
eBay.
part, Andrew. Yes.
Yeah, I don't know, man. Chase your bliss. It's. I mean, it was clean, and whatever. It makes them
Well, and
happy.
again,
It makes them happy.
that's not what I'm talking about with the Honda Accords, because I'm thinking
Yeah.
of a specific year when a guy showed up in a brand new Honda Accord and just sat in his car all day. And we were just like, what is this guy doing? At least in this particular case, that person obviously is an enthusiast of that particular model and an enthusiast of trains. So,
Mhm.
I mean, that's probably 50% of the AOT audience is a fan of trains just because of life. But my guess is that that's no different, or my thought process is that's no different than a guy with a brand new BMW that has a wrap and some wheels. Like, it's the same kind of enthusiast. It's not our kind of enthusiast, but it is an enthusiast of sorts. And you can't really knock the choice of a new Sienna minivan. They are very good vehicles. So they're not something that you
it'll.
standard call an enthusiast vehicle, but
I mean, it's probably got 300 horsepower and it'll smoke half of my vehicles. So
it's probably faster than all of your cars except maybe the Talon.
But
Probably.
anyway, there's a lot of cool stuff
Definitely
there.
faster than my cars.
Yeah. A lot of rotaries this year, actually. A lot more than I think I've seen before. So,
Interesting.
yeah, I think I think a bunch of rotary guys, the word got out to them and they all showed up. So that was cool. A lot of like actually, come to think of it, that's probably the most third gen RX-7s I've ever seen in one place. Like,
I wondered what the turnout was going to be because there was also a conflict the same day with one of the shows either in Worcester or in Rhode Island um, that all the Toyota guys go to. So
come to think of it, wasn't a lot of Toyotas. So maybe, yeah.
there was a big Toyota show that was that same day. I know all the local Corolla guys all went to that.
Yeah.
So that probably took a little bit away. But if it was sold out anyway, I guess they didn't affect it that much.
Yeah, a lot of Nissans, some Toyotas, some Hondas, good amount of Mitsubishis. Yeah,
It's the rarest thing of all. Multiple Mitsubishis is crazy.
well, all the Isuzus, and then the Suzuki Wizard, a Wizard Boy. What was it called?
Wizard.
Wizard. Yeah,
There's a Whiz Kid
WizKid.
GX.
That's what it is. I've never seen
which
one
is
of those.
apparently the
before.
European version of the car that I can't think of the name of right now. The little
Based on the
pickup truck, the El
design.
Camino version. The little El Camino version is the Mighty Boy, and then there's another version of that vehicle that's a Japanese version of that. Servo, I think CERVO. I think is the Japanese version, and then Whiz Kid is the European version.
Yeah.
The coolest thing about those cars is that one of the new Suzuki that's still on the market, if you look at it behind the rear glass on the quarter windows, on the quarter panels, are three little slats, like three little vents that Whiz Kid or Servo also has, and the new Suzuki is a callback to that.
Oh,
I don't remember what the new Suzuki is. It might be an Alto or something along those lines. One of their small cars that I occasionally see because they come over from they sell in Mexico, so I'll occasionally see them here in town. But they have that a callback to that design over the behind the rear the quarter glass of the little slats. Super cool.
so he had a little boomer board. I actually took a picture of it so it's an SC100 GX in quotations WizKid. Yeah, from Japan, 78 to 82. This was an 81. So they wrote here based on a design by Giugiaro. Does that mean it wasn't designed? It was. That's a weird way to write it.
It's a very weird way to write it.
uh,
Maybe it was like a evolution of an originally designed by Giugiaro car.
yeah, but yeah, right here, Great Britain received 5,500. The Netherlands got about 3,900. So this was a left-hand drive car. So one of three known in North America. So it must be. So yeah, it's European, and this must be from the Netherlands. Interesting car. It was very, very nice. Like mint, mint, mint.
Yeah, it was a neat color combo too. It was super cool.
Never seen one.
I'm trying to do a quick Google on what modern Suzuki has those same quarter panel lines, but it's not super easy to figure out something that only I care about because I can't Google it in any other way.
But yeah, it's a really good show. It's fun to hang out with everyone. And yeah, it's just a good
Yeah,
time.
if you're in the East Coast and you want to be aware of these things, join up on the Discord. Actually, just anywhere in the country, join up on the Discord. But that's how they kind of put this together on the East Coast. Suzuki Ignis, IGNIS. That's the current Suzuki that has the three little slots on the quarter panel that call back to that CX1000 WizKid servo vehicle. So Suzuki Ignis, and I see those probably, I don't know, once every couple of months here in town with Mexican tags on them, because they keep all the cool tiny stuff away from us here for some reason. Anyway, cool. I was a little, even though I had my show here on Saturday, I will be completely honest and say I definitely had some FOMO looking at everybody's photos on Sunday of the show out there. Mostly because that was my favorite show of the year every year out there. So it was kind of a bummer to see that, but I guess I get nobody to blame but myself moving out here.
It's a good show. It's a nice spot.
Yep.
It's actually getting, now I've met more people out here. It's more fun to just hang out with the people. It's fun to bring
Sure.
the cars, but it was nice to walk around with everyone and look at cars together. And everybody's got
That's what it's all about.
everybody brought their cool little unique cars that they have. So, yeah, I brought some donuts. There's nothing. If you come hang out at a show here, I'll bring you donuts.
I mean, it depends on what kind of donuts you brought. Were they Cane's donuts?
Yeah, they were Gaines donuts.
I can't eat them. Actually, no, they have a gluten-free donut there now.
Yeah.
So I should be good. Yeah, if it's not the same weekend as the Route 66 show, maybe next year I'll try to come out and go to that again. See.
Well, I was definitely bummed because my dad had organized a tech meet for his car club with the Salem High School automotive program, but then they also turned it into a car show that was Halloween themed in Salem, and it happened to be on Sunday as
Same day.
well. I was like, because it's literally that's like 5 minutes from the house. Like I would have gone there,
Sure.
absolutely, but oh well.
I
Next
live from my
time.
parents' house. It's like 20 minutes from yours.
Yeah, on a Saturday. Well, yeah, on a Saturday going to Salem from my
On a
house.
Saturday in October? Yeah.
But
Never mind, it's an hour and a half. Yeah.
yeah. Hopefully they don't conflict next year if they do it again. But
They didn't last year because I went to the car show at Salem High School with you last year because I was in town.
that was in
So
May.
it was a different
or
weekend then.
in the spring.
Okay.
So they there was also a show at Castle in the Clouds on the Saturday of the same weekend, but it's like too much to go all the way up there and then back down to Brookline. So.
And looking at pictures of that event would have been
Looks
a little
pretty
bit
good.
less fun.
Yeah.
Would have been a little less fun though, I think. A, because the people wouldn't have been there that you knew, and B, I think it was just more of a standard, traditional, classic 50s car show, which it's totally cool. It's got its place. It's just a little different than I think what we're into. So, but it is what it is. Maybe get the Corolla running good, and I can do a cross country trip and time it with Japanese car day. That'd
There
be a
you
hell of
go.
a story. Yeah, we shall see.
I took one of my neoclassic stickers that I got from Moon Eyes Japan and stuck it on the back of the Gallant because it said Japan on it and neoclassic JP.
Yep.
I was like, oh, I got all this Japanese stuff that I can put on here.
I gotta figure out a way to get those magazines here at a reasonable cost because they're super cool.
I think,
That's what that is, right?
I think
It's a
they're on
magazine.
Amazon. It's a magazine.
Aren't they? I said reasonably priced though. That's the issue. They're like $50 or $60 an issue.
Are they?
Online.
I haven't
they're
looked.
expensive. Yeah.
Yeah, there's another good magazine, but it's British. It's like classic, retro, modern, but again, super expensive to get over here. So,
Yeah, ones have been like $25 an issue.
mm-hmm.
They do offer a subscription that they'll ship worldwide.
Yeah.
I don't know if that's changed due to
Who
current
knows?
tariff situations, but I have looked at the past and I've almost got it because it reminds me a little bit of the old Retro Cars
It
magazine.
does.
And I don't know if we're just becoming the old men in the automotive space, but I do miss having a good monthly car magazine that I enjoy reading. I do get the Haggerty Collectors Club or whatever, Drivers Club magazine, but it's not really geared towards my taste in things. I mean, usually there's a couple articles in it that are worthwhile, but there's so much like speculation and value talk that I'd rather just not read. I just want to read
Oh my god.
cool car stories. You know,
I don't care about how much is worth how much everything is
I
worth all
want
the time.
to. Yeah, I want
It's
to
just like,
hear car stories.
yeah, it's just a constant thing. Like I feel like people are always like, "What's it worth? What's it worth? What if you drive it? It's not worth it." It's like, okay, how about let's not care about that?
Right. Well, it's the same thing that's ruined every hobby right now is the resale market. And one can argue that it's been around in the car world forever because, car auctions have always been a thing and speculation has always been a thing and people have always bought cars for the value. But with the yeah, proliferation of the internet and information age, it just seems to be that's everybody's first comment with a car. Oh, what's it worth? It doesn't matter what it's worth. I have my Camaro out here now, and anybody who sees the car, oh, what's this thing worth? Does it matter? Are you going to buy it from me? Am I going to sell it to you? Is it going to be?
Yeah.
We going to turn it into cash? Like, what's the point of the conversation here? Like, no. Or like my neighbor who said when we brought the Camaro home, like, oh, that's the kind of car you should hold on to, not those other ones. Like, oh, okay.
Okay.
Because why?
You're an
Because you
expert.
said so. Like, sure. I get that one. I don't get the other ones. Fine, whatever. I'm not doing it for you, so I don't care. But anyway, yeah, I miss retro cars. I miss sport compact car. I miss the magazines, and even our friends over at Revival did a magazine for a few years that was really good. It was pretty Volkswagen heavy because that's who they are, but it was a high quality retro car style magazine. Unfortunately, it got too expensive and they stopped. Same thing with Ben over at Japanese Nostalgic Car. They had a magazine for about a year and a half. I think they had 5 or 6 issues, and it was great. And then, unfortunately, it was just too much work and not enough money. So we got to find a way to. Somebody's got to find a way to make magazines work again because I miss it.
Oh, you know what else happened at the show? I had a guy come up to me, ask about the Galant, and he was really interested in it. And I was showing it to him.
It's a
Nope. He was like, "Hey, I've actually got." He looked inside, and the passenger seat bottom has split again. It was split when I bought the car, and the owner gave me a second one that wasn't split, and I had swapped it, and the seam split again. And he's like, "Hey, I've got a passenger seat for this car." He's like, "I used to have one. Do you want the seat?" And I was like, "Yeah." And he's like local-ish to me, probably like an hour and a half away. So I got his digits. These cars are always
Sweet.
good at picking up dudes.
Yeah, absolutely.
So I gotta plan a weekend trip when I'm around to go down and grab it from him.
At least your car met you a local dude. My dude I met was in Nebraska.
Yeah. So that was cool. Yeah, whole seat, entire seat. He's like I keep looking at the garage or in the basement wherever he's got it. He's like, I don't want to get rid of it, and he's like, I just haven't had the time to put it online to see if anybody wants it. So
He wants to get rid of it, but not throw it away. Basically.
yep. And I was like, yeah, I'll
Very
definitely
cool.
use it. I'll switch it out. So
Very
cool.
cool.
But yeah, that's the value
Excellent.
in going to local shows. You get
Yeah.
to-
Well, I have not posted any pictures yet from this weekend, but I did take some, and I have a couple that are edited, and a couple of the truck on its road trip up there and down. I did forget one part of the story. When we were driving there, we were still down here in the valley, just outside of the
Oh yeah.
city, and I saw off in the distance a small red car pulled off on the side of the road, and I was like, "That looks like a small '70s car." And as we got closer, I said, "That looks like a Skyline, so that's going to be Jamal." That's not good. So we made a sketchy move and darted across 4 lanes of traffic and got over to the side and pulled off right in front of him to see what was going on. Um, Jamal has I'm not going to guess the year because I don't know the exact year. It's an early '70s Ken Mary Skyline, which is super rare in general, but then it's even more rare because it's a left-hand drive Ken Mary that was sold new in Iran.
Wow.
Yeah, super rad. And Jamal is from Tehran, so that's where he got the car from, and he shipped it over here a few years ago. He's a big Nissan guy, and I guess 70s Nissans are huge in Iran. It's a very big collecting market there for 70s Nissans and Toyotas and Chevys randomly. But anyway, so he shipped the car over from Iran quite a few years ago, and he was pulled over on the side of the road, and he was trying to figure out what was wrong with the car because it had started spraying water on the hood as he was driving, on the hood and the windshield. So it wasn't overheating according to his gauge, but it was spraying water out. He had topped it off before he left the house, and I think what happened was he just put too much in there, and as the system pressurized, it just blew out the top of the overflow because it wasn't overheating. We couldn't figure out why it would have been overheating. Once it cooled off, everything seemed fine. But unfortunately, he also had a very low right front tire, had about 19 pounds of air in it. So I pointed that out, and he's like, "Oh man, I missed that. That's stupid. Let's get some air in it." So I had brought a pump, so I had an air pump at least. So he pumped it up on the side of the road, and he's like, "Well, do I continue to go all the way up elevation up to the show, or do I turn around and go home and come back at a modern car tomorrow?" And I was like, "Man, that's entirely up to you." I said, "But we still have like 5 or 6 more exits until we get completely out of civilization here. So why don't we drive until we get to like Sunset Point? And if your tire still has the correct amount of air in it and it's not overheating, keep on going. And if we get there and your tire is low or the car is spraying water again, maybe go home. Kind of make that like a little bit of a litmus test for the vehicle's capability of making it the rest of the way. Now, this is a very nice car. It's not a janky car in any way, shape, or form. I think it was having a bad day, basically. It has Watanabe RS8s, which are the multi-piece 8-spokes. So we made it to Rock Springs. If you've ever been to Arizona on the 17, the Rock Springs exit is all the pie signs, and they have the big famous like pie stand on the side of the road there. We made it there. He pulled over again. His tire that we filled to 32 pounds was back down to 20. And he decided at that point, probably best just to refill it again and head back home rather than try to make it all the way up and back. So he was going to try to get to a tire shop and see if they could find a leak in the tire or just go home and come up in the modern car the next day. So unfortunately, he did not make it to the show this year. But fortunately, we discovered all the problems when we were still down here in the valley and not somewhere in between here in Flagstaff with no phone signal and no tow truck capability and no gas stations. So sad for him, but he probably made the right choice. Go home, fix the tire, and make sure the cooling system is up to snuff, and the car will live on to go back next year. So big shouts to Jamal, though. He's a good guy. So definitely good to help him out. But yeah, that's the weekend in a nutshell.
Cool. All right. I'm calling it a podcast. So
Works for me.
yeah, follow Out Off Topic. Follow Out Off Topic podcast on Instagram. Follow me, Race and Anger, on Instagram. We've got Scale Autocast. What else do we have? That's pretty much it.
Pretty much it.
Yeah. And they can find you where?
TSI SS350 on Instagram.
All right, cool. Also, if you want to join the Discord, just message us and we'll send you an invite link. It's a pretty fun place to hang out. But yeah. All right. As always, keep cars analog and aim for the roses.